Motorcycle commuting. You might think of it as the harrowing, threading the needle, filtering situation you see that Brazilian riders do, but actually, motorcycle commuting is a more nuanced and varied topic. In today's video, we're doing a more freewheeling, free-balling discussion rather than doing a whole news thing. We're just having some fun talking about motorcycle commuting. Logan, how do you feel about motorcycle commuting?
I've got a bunch of firsthand experience with motorcycle commuting. My wife and I are a one-car household.
Wow.
And I gotta say...
Impressive. Let's give impressive.
It's okay. You can pat me on the back. The sacrifices, personal sacrifices I make to have a better outcome on the world, on the, the
righteous.
Children. I do it all for the children.
For the children.
But honestly, yeah, it's pretty great. There's a lot of freedoms that come with it in a bunch of different ways. You know, you don't have the financial burden of multiple car ownership. And also it's freeing on the road. You know, you're able to, obviously not even considering lane splitting or, shoulder surfing or things like that. There's a lot of opportunities to save time and save a headache when motorcycling.
Yeah, I think that one of my favorite things about commuting by bike, which for those of you who may not know, both Logan and I commute by motorcycle here to Yamanoob HQ 3 days a week, and I ride my bike probably like 4 or 5 days a week to like run errands and stuff like that. I am not a one-car household. I'm actually a two-car household and a couple bikes. I have a family though, so that's my excuse. So we need little kiddo vehicles and all that stuff. But yeah, one of the things I like most is like when I'm commuting by bike, it just feels like I have more options. I feel more free. And I know a lot of people think of it like, oh, you're exposed, cars could hit you. But I also feel like I just have so much more room.
Yeah, for sure.
Like my daily is a Ram 1500 truck with the cowboy stitching and the air suspension and all that crazy shit. But when I ride the bike, I honestly feel safer. I know that sounds kind of crazy to those of you who may not be commuting by motorcycle, but I can get out from cars. I have more options available to me, and I'm more of an anarchist when it comes to traffic laws. You mentioned, if you don't think about shoulder surfing or filtering, I'd be filtering. I'd be shoulder surfing. I'd be, if I have to run a red light here and there to be for safety, I do it too. I'm a bit of an anarchist. Do you bend the rules a little bit?
Now that it's cooled off, like in the morning specifically, like I'm just chilling, dude. It's like 65, 70 degrees out. I got the podcast in and I'm like, could I save 10 minutes or whatever? Because remember when up until a couple months ago, I was getting here like, 30 minutes before we started work practically. But that's because I was just like, I got to get there as fast as possible. Yeah. And then now that it's cooling off and it's less just uncomfortable sitting on the bike, like I'm just like, I'm just chilling. So not so much these days, especially in the morning. In the afternoons when traffic is way worse, school's getting out, college is back in session, it can be pretty gnarly, like especially once you get actually in the city, right? Yeah. And then it's like, okay, this is wild. Then I'll filter for sure. Yeah, because you and I both live very much in the bounds of Austin proper, so we have to deal with some crazy urban traffic. Yeah, and in that case, like people seem more accepting of filtering, or like no one's freaks out or whatever that I see. Yeah, maybe that's because they're stuck back there in traffic. Maybe they're freaking out, but I think it's because there's so many Californians in Austin. Personally, I just feel like we're all so used to filtering. And I think it's a lot of, especially in Austin proper, people are pretty laid back. I think people are kind of like, have a low key kind of vibe to them. I have noticed when you go further out and people, tend to be different minded, let's say. They start getting angrier when you do certain things. Yeah. In the city, nobody really cares. Yeah. I think when you get further out, it feels a little bit more like real Texas. Yeah. And where it definitely is. And where filtering is like somehow impeding on their freedoms as a commuter, and it makes no sense. But anyway, to bring it all back, if it's a matter of safety for myself in terms of overheating, it's 105 and my bike's running at like 240 degrees. Yeah, I'll filter the front. Yeah. When the weather's nicer and it's cooled off and I'm not in any hurry, I'm usually fine just chilling. That's a fair point. I have noticed that in myself too. When it's a little more warm outside, I definitely take different maneuvers and tactics to get to where I need to go. Because this morning it was like 67 degrees. I maybe filtered like 2 of the intersections that we normally do. The rest I was kind of just sitting there because it's not that bad. It's not a big deal. And compared to other big major cities in the world, Austin traffic, I know people who live in Austin say our traffic is horrendous, but you have not experienced traffic in India. You haven't experienced it in Italy, in Sao Paulo.
oh my God. Like
Yeah.
in Sao Paulo, I would never ride a bike. I would
Yeah.
never ride a bike. If you guys want to have some fun, look up motorcycle commuting videos in South American cities and prepare yourself to be like, wow, we have it really good here in America. It's really, everybody's really orderly and following the rules for the most part. Yeah.
But I mean, that's a good segue into something we were talking about earlier. You know, you wouldn't ride a motorcycle or commute in Sao Paulo based on a primal fear of survival or whatever,
Correct,
right?
yeah.
And so I think that's sort of a major difference for people that are afraid to leave their cars and pursue other types of transportation because it's a matter of fear of physical safety, right? They don't want to get like T-boned by a Hyundai Elantra or whatever, and also a fear of like it's like different whether that's public transit or riding a bicycle or riding a motorcycle. It's like what do you mean I can't drink my 64-ounce frozen coffee drink and listen to a true crime podcast and scroll TikTok and do all these things for my hour commute? What do you mean I have to raw dog reality on them?
So that brings up so many good points. And honestly, one of my favorite parts of the day is my motorcycle commute because I can't do anything else other than ride my bike, you know? Like I do have my phone on the rock form mount to like charge it, and like sometimes I may shuffle through the music or something or the podcast that I'm listening to. But other than that, I'm just like fully focused in doing something. And it's one of the last vestiges in my life that I'm able to do that, you know, like, so I actually really enjoy that. But I know for a lot of people, raw dog in reality is very scary and they don't want to be exposed to that. But I think riding a motorcycle and commuting with it is a way to expose yourself to society a little bit more. Sometimes in a bad way. You had an experience with a gentleman at a bus stop, right? You want to tell us about that?
So is that a bus stop? And if for people who live in Austin or visit, obviously there's, you know, a homeless population. Most of the time they seem pretty chill, whether it's because they're passed out for whatever reason, but mostly I've never really had any issues. But yeah, one morning I was at a stoplight, so like I couldn't go anywhere, and I see a guy, an unhomed gentleman, kind of looking over at me, and then I glance and he starts like yelling something undiscernible. And I look over again, and he's still yelling. I'm like, okay. And then I see him pick up a rock, like a big rock, like bigger, like a grapefruit-sized rock.
That's not good.
Picks it up, and is like looking at me, and I'm just like, no, brother, you do not want to throw that rock at me.
Yeah.
And then he set it down, and he picked up a smaller rock, and then he threw that at me. And it just hit my like wheel and tire. Nothing happened. It's an adventure bike. It's meant for having rocks thrown at it. But that was kind of strange. Yeah, I'd almost rather that happen on a motorcycle though, because he had thrown that rock at any part of a car, except for maybe the wheel or the tire, that's gonna cause some problems. But it kind of just there's less area to be hit, I think, when people are throwing things at you. Yeah, so that is a consideration, right? Like you're more exposed on the bike. I think a lot of people think of it just being like, oh, what if you crash into a car? But like, hey, you know, in Austin, this is the most cyberpunk city in the United States. Sometimes you might have a delivery robot come out in front of you, or a cyber truck, or a driverless car. Like there's so many variables we deal with in downtown Austin traffic. Like the driverless cars, it's so crazy interacting with those because like, I don't know what they're going to do. Right. You know, like with the human being, you can look it in the eyes and you can be like, okay, like what are they going to, with the driverless car, it's just really like this emotionless thing that could just kill me if it wants to. Yeah, I've been like pushing the boundaries a little bit in terms of like, say a Waymo and I come to a four-way. If it comes to the four-way stop, like I gun it through to test it. I do the same. And it won't. It clams up. Like it's right now it's programmed to fear its human overlords. Yeah, right now it's like a bitch-made driver. You know, you're like, nah, I'm just gonna fucking gun it. Like screw you. Who knows? It might get a software update and become a little bit more malicious. But for now, it's very cautious with other people. I think it's like overly cautious, which I appreciate. It should be, but to be honest, like there are times when if I have to do something and there's a driverless car, like I just do it because I know it's not going to do anything. But one day they may rise up and start doing things. Parting is such sweet sorrow, but that's what I must do with this Yamaha R9. October 3rd is the very last day you have to get entered to win this machine. So make sure you click the link down below and become a member. Sign up and get your chances locked and loaded to win this Yamaha R9. This is a sweet bike. It's gonna go to someone I know is gonna love it very much and use it for its highest and best use, which maybe doing dank wheelies with it. October 3rd, make sure you got your chances locked and loaded. Don't miss out. But yeah, I think commuting by motorcycle in North America, it may be like the most
sort of like Sigma move if you think about it, because we're kind of forced to have car ownership in this country, like for whatever reason. I mean, there's lots of reasons that we're not going to get into on this podcast.
The illusion of choice in the matter.
Yeah, it's like you can choose if you want a Kia, a Hyundai, or a Honda or whatever, but you're still going to have to sit in traffic with your, stupid car. And you talked about this where the economy's changing. People are working more from home. They have more flexible work schedules. Like these cars are just sitting around, just like piling up dust. A bike is just a more efficient, interesting way of getting around, and especially as there's more traffic. If you don't want to sit in traffic, you can get by on a bike. There's I think it was in England, there was a scooter shop that it was on this really busy main road, and they had an advertisement that said you could be home by now, and it was like come inside today, and that's a great ad for being on two wheels. Like it's just a way more efficient way of getting around.
Yeah,
you ever seen those photos of like traffic? It's like it's like 80 people in a car, 80 people in a bus, 80 people on bikes. It's like we just take up so much less space,
and even just in like more static space in cities, like how much is dedicated to parking lots, parking garages, all the parking on the street. Like it's just a massive resource expense, you know, for cars, that people are driving less, whether that's like remote work or living in more concentrated areas. It's like where I live, we could get by probably with no car. You know what I mean? We could walk to the grocery store, get one of those little wagons. Who knows what we might run into in going under the bridges and stuff, but that's just part of the fun of it. That's like what being like a real human's like before you were living like super compartmentalized digital lives, insular lives. Like you had to experience strangers doing weirdness, what I mean? That's just part of life.
I imagine living in a medieval village in like the 1300s or whatever. Do you think that you stepped out of your like thatch hut and there wasn't a guy just like off in the corner? Of course there was, like of course there was like the town friar just like it in the corner, like why wouldn't? And this is just like the new dystopian cyberpunk version of that. Like you go under the bridge, there's a little driverless robot or whatever, and there he is, the town friar 1,000 years later doing the same thing, because humans are surprisingly static in that way. Like we have not kept up with the evolution of our society. We're still fundamentally those same strange apes that emerged many thousands of years ago.
The environment has changed.
The environment's changed,
But like we could theoretically get away with having no car, and understand that's a privileged position to be in America, right? But it's not unrealistic. It's not like Austin's New York City or London or whatever. It's a smaller city in terms of bigger cities, right? And it's still...
I think the challenge, though, is like whenever you have to do anything a little further out, like let's say, for example, you had to go get a specialty item from some sort of store, right? Where if you have a car, you'll just drive there and get it and come back. But if you don't have a car, trying to get to that location might be very difficult. If you have a motorcycle, it's fine. But that's why I think the motorcycle is the best form, because it gives you the benefits of a car and of like something smaller for urban mobility. Like it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, otherwise you'd have to be taking like an Uber. To do something.
Which, a lot of people live that way too. I've actually met people that don't have a car, and then like they just like, if they need something bigger, they just jump in an Uber, pay $30
a couple times a month or something. But yeah, motorcycle is definitely the way to go. And because you can also think about even just beyond commuting and like the practicality of it, but the enthusiast element too. Like think about how like cucked car enthusiasts are. It's like, dude, you should have like 6 busted cars. That's like your entire yard, garage, driveway. You should have 6 busted cars. I don't envy that lifestyle. But versus if you're a motorcycle enthusiast, you can have in a 1-car garage, you can have 8 bikes easily. You know what I mean?
I've often said that car enthusiasts are just bike enthusiasts who haven't figured it out yet. They're just if you just spend enough time and think about it, you'll reach the same conclusion that all of us do, that it's like, this is just a better way to live.
Yeah, for sure.
It is crass, but I agree. It's like they are cucked, because we were talking about the new Honda Prelude, and we're like, what even is that thing? Like why would any enthusiast want to buy that? You know? And then any bike is more fun. You know, I was talking to you today. I was like, I could buy a fun car, but I can't do wheelies with it, can't do jumps with it. I can't slide it around with like impunity on like a back road or something. Like if I slide a car around, I'm going to cause a ruckus, burn it out super loud or whatever. It's just like not really like a normal activity. I guess it's not normal to slide a bike around either, but Like, I feel like more reasonable, for example, like sometimes at an intersection, I'll just like drag the rear brake and just back the Touareg into like a, kind of like sideways at the intersection just for fun. You can't really, I mean, you could do that in a car, but like it wouldn't be, socially acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all seen like all the, drift Mustang takeover videos where someone tries to do that and then, pedestrians lose their lives.
Yeah, you don't want to kill people. That's crazy.
Actually, they usually just lose their pants. That's like the punchline of those videos. If someone gets hit and their pants fly off and their shoes fly off, and then they get up totally fine. You know what I mean?
I think I'd rather die than have video of me just like my pants getting ripped off as a Mustang just like drifts into me or whatever.
But yeah, to your point, you can have, I think, way more fun with a motorcycle in every capacity, right? Like, it gets up to speed faster, it brakes faster, it's small, you can have some fun with it without being a massive threat to those around you.
Yeah.
And also just like the cost for, if you have a car that's fun, it's either like an old box or it's very expensive. So it's like, if it's an old box, we have fun with it, it's gonna break. That's why I never understand car guys too. It's like you spend all this time and money modifying this, this Subaru or whatever, and then the minute it becomes fun to drive, it becomes catastrophic, right? Like it's going to break.
I think if you're into that sort of thing, you should either volunteer at a nursing home or like take in like a shelter dog, because clearly you have some sort of thing in your brain that you want to care for something like older.
I thought you were gonna say like an angel of death, like you want to like put something out of its misery. I mean, in like a loving way, like in like a Kevorkian way or something.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, so either you have a cheap car that if you have fun with it, it breaks, or if you have an expensive car, you're too afraid to have fun with it because if something breaks, it costs a lot of money versus a motorcycle. The cheapest motorcycles are fun. You don't even have to have an expensive one. And if you do get an expensive one, it's even more fun, but it's still a fraction of the cost. Like what people pay in busted project cars that never even run right, you could have the nicest Ducati they sell. You could have a V4R for what someone spent on a Supra or something.
Not even that. Like, I mean, a V4R is like 45, 50 grand. That doesn't even, that starts you in the conversation for like something kind of sporty nowadays. I mean, that's crazy. That was telling you before the video, like I had a 911 for about a year, and I was like, this is so crazy for how expensive like all this ownership is. Like light bar goes out in the back. I thought it'd be a simple bulb, $1,600 expense. And for me, the way I live my life is my toys and fun stuff. It should be like money that I don't care about losing. I'd never. There was a guy on our Discord actually. He was like, "Oh, I put all my money into this like Ducati V4," and I'm like,
"No, that's crazy.
Why would you do that? It's got to be money that you're okay with losing." And maybe I'm just a cheap bastard, but I'm not okay losing $1,600 on a light bar. So I just always thought cars were a terrible value proposition. They continue to be, and they keep getting more expensive. Like a base 911 now is like deep into the six figures. I'm like, what are we talking about? Like,
I mean, cars, even the cheapest, just practical commuter cars are becoming more and more expensive. Anything that's remotely fun or special in some way, it's
60, 70.
Yeah, it's like beyond the realm of normalcy for people.
Yeah. Or you're going to go into massive consumer debt for it, which is really dumb.
Yeah.
Take out like a 17% loan for some car.
Yeah. Hellcat.
Yeah. Do it for the Chally, bro.
Yeah.
Do it for the
84 month loan.
84 month
96.
loan.
I think they'll do 96.
They do 96 at like 20%.
Oh, yeah, because you own a Dodge. Don't they have, well, we don't need to know about, but Dodge, I think, has very generous financing, I've heard. Like they'll do super long terms.
I wouldn't know.
Super crazy interest. That's not generous.
Yeah, no.
But really long terms, really low approval thresholds, and I think that's part of why the whole like Challenger, Charger, Hellcat thing. Well, and also the Ram is one of the more popular trucks right now too, and I think that's part of it.
So. I mean, that's why I bought it. It's a nice truck, but I wouldn't know about their financing stuff. Yeah. But I think the people that do that, it's like I've heard I don't know if they're real or not, but like they'll call into these like car dealerships and they're like, "Hey, I want to buy this Hellcat you guys have listed," and like they have like no income, they got like no credit history.
Ninja loan,
yeah, for the Hellcat, and I'm like, who the hell's signing these loans? And then they just crash it, and then they ruin their lives with like bankruptcy and all that. I'm like, was it worth it, dude?
No.
For the clout?
For the clout.
Yeah. So motorcycle commuting, I think we all agree, goated, awesome. If you're not doing it, I think you should try it. I would say dip your toes into it. If you're a motorcyclist right now and maybe you're like kind of like motorcycle car household, just try taking the bike out like, once or twice a week to work. I used to do that back in the day. I would just take my bike on Fridays or Mondays just to like spice up my commute a little bit. Or maybe go more radical like Logan and just drop a car that you have in your life, try to do more bike stuff. Like you'd be like, what's funny is I have all this space in my truck and I'm like, I barely ever have to go pick up anything that I couldn't just put in a backpack. Like it's not that often I'm picking up big stuff, right? Now, that may change as my kiddos get bigger and stuff. Kid stuff, it gets kind of big. Actually, you know what? I'm glad I have the truck. I'm glad I have the truck for that.
But yeah, the last thing I'll say about it is my thinking was like, okay, if we go down one car and I can do it for however long, just even whatever money I've saved in that 6 months or a year, massive. I could then put towards another car if I needed it.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, we can get by without it. Obviously, some days when it's 100-something degrees and it takes me an hour to get home, that sucks. But that's a fraction of the time, what I mean? Most of the time, it's perfectly feasible.
Yep. So, motorcycle commuting, we recommend it. Check it out. Do it. That's our little diatribe about it. Hope you enjoyed. It was a light news week, so we had to do what we had to do. Appreciate you watching. Catch you in the next one. See you later.